Well, two rail companies had an unusual message for people travelling to parts of the southwest and Wales. Don't come. That's where the wild weather is creating most havoc. But there are flood warnings now, the length and breadth of Britain. And on one of the busiest weekends of the year for travel and shopping, that is rather dampening Christmas spirits. Here's Tom Clark.
It wasn't shoppers pouring down Braunton High Street this morning. And now there'll be no shopping days before Christmas. The fire crews made a start at pumping floodwater out of businesses. It could help limit the damage, but it's unlikely many will open till the new year. Villagers pitched in, stuffing and delivering sandbags, but there'll be frustration here too. A brand new £1 million flood defence scheme failed to keep the flood at bay.
Some of the businesses have been completely ruined. Everything's gone. Basically, some of them don't have flood insurance. Some of them are just slightly affected, but everyone really in this village will feel it for a long time to come.
Further west in Cornwall, it's the same picture. Lostwithiel is a washout. An impromptu ferry service shuttling stranded residents from one side of the town to the other. And with saturated ground across the UK, last night's heavy rain means there's some flooding almost everywhere. In Staffordshire, the River Dove and the village of Rolleston have become one and the same. The Trent is almost full to bursting, so's the Severn. And parts of Fife are underwater too. Rain-sodden soil means landslides as well. The Coast Guard filmed these cliffs in Dorset slipping towards the beach. And this chunk of hillside blocked a road near Looe in Cornwall. In all, not the weather you want when you're trying to get to Mum's house for Christmas.
I've rung her and sort of had to break the surprise that I'm within 12 miles of her, but at the moment it doesn't look like I'm going to make it with the turkey.
There are currently 177 flood warnings, meaning flooding is expected across England, Wales and parts of Scotland. There are 4 severe warnings for dangerous flooding in the southwest, 2 on the River Cane in Braunton, 1 on the River Foy near Lostwithiel, another on the River Cover in Helston. Due to flooding, First Great Western is advising passengers not to travel to parts of the southwest. Arriva Trains Wales is advising the same for South Wales. And there's flood-related disruption to rail services in the Midlands and the southeast. Add to that other rail chaos, like trains to Brighton being suspended due to a signal failure, and the seasonal travel outlook is anything but merry. And the Environment Agency is warning more flooding is likely. Further rain is expected tonight, and again on Sunday night into Christmas Eve.
Well, earlier I spoke to Alan Burrows of the Environment Agency, who was unfortunately standing in the pouring rain in Braunton, and asked him just how bad the situation was there.
Well, actually, believe it or not, the situation's improving. We had the scheme, unfortunately, over top around about 5:30 this morning, and the residents have said it was coping really well up until that point. Unfortunately, we've had so much water that the scheme was overtopped at a low point, and it's found itself down in this street that I'm standing in now called Cane Street. And the noise that you can hear in the background is the fire brigade pumping water out of the street.
You've only just put these new flood defences in though, haven't you? It's been relatively easily overwhelmed. Why is that?
2012 has just been an extraordinary wet year, and all the rain that's falling at the moment is having an impact. And unfortunately, what's happened is that the scheme's designed to a certain standard, and that standard's been breached. What we will have to do is look at what's happened over the coming weeks and see whether or not we can make any tweaks to the scheme to see if we can improve it.
Just tell us what the prospect is for the next 24 hours and really for people's Christmases. How bad is the weather looking there and elsewhere?
The weather across Devon and Cornwall and Somerset is likely to remain wet for the next 24 hours. And then it's going to be showers, and hopefully we might see a bright sunshine a little bit every now and again, but it's generally showers over the next 4 to 5 days.
With the prospect of many more floods like the one you're standing in?
The prospect of numerous flood warnings, I've no doubt, over the next coming days, but we've got guys out on the ground across the whole of England and Wales checking flood defences 24/7, 365 days of the year. Our incident rooms are open, and we're out and ready to respond whenever we can and when we need to.
And what's your advice to people over the Christmas period, travelling to visit relatives, getting out and about? What would you say to them?
My advice is, if you're going to travel, take time to plan your journey. There's going to be some disruption. There's likely to be some disruption maybe on some of the train journeys down here into the southwest. So take your time, but whatever you do, don't drive through flood water. It's dangerous. You never know how deep it's going to be. We've seen many images on the media recently of cars being stranded. Don't do daft things. Keep out of flood water. That would be my advice.